Dreaming. I've always imagined it as a sandbox where your brain is using loose memories to just make random stuff happen. Taking random people, places, and experiences and just mixing them around. About half of the world have at least had the experience of seeing this chaos and realizing, I'm in a dream. This concept is known as lucid dreaming, and only about 20% of people who lucid dream have it happen like once a month. I am one of these people. I lucid dream often, and this fact sometimes has me excited to try and dream. I've flown, used telekinesis, beat up bad guys. Apparently I just really want to be a superhero. Lucid dreaming has always had me fascinated with dreams themselves, and how our minds begin to create their own worlds and stories. Sadly, a very small 6% of the world don't experience dreams at all, but they don't have to worry too much thanks to a small internet genre known as Dreamcore. Just like I brought up, there are a lot of internet cores and genres such as weirdcore, Fruitiger Arrow, and nostalgia core. These all in some way fall under the liminal space umbrella. Speaking of liminal space, the video performed really well, and I can't thank you all enough for giving my channel a shot. If you are coming here from that video, massive thank you. Thank you. And a really big thanks to all of the comments saying that I should make another video on these smaller subjects. I hope this video delivers well, and besides all that, if you couldn't tell, in this video today we're going to be talking about Dreamcore. Without just taking the definition from the aesthetics wiki, Dreamcore is an aesthetic almost entirely made up from surrealist, nostalgic, dreamlike qualities, having bright yet calm colors, and soft elements like rainbows, bubbles, and flowers. Since I'm going to have to bring it up a lot, let's go ahead and talk about the many connections between liminal space and Dreamcore. One of the major ones being nostalgia.
But wait, didn't you mention a nostalgia core earlier in the video? How can nostalgia make up a key point in liminal space and Dreamcore if it's already part of a different genre?
Why, thank you for asking that very specific question, random voice I made for this video. The major difference in this is that nostalgia core shows off mostly images, while Dreamcore works really well with videos and other things like that. And a lot of the times, these images are real photographs of schools, childhood bedrooms, and other things from the early 2000s, often even keeping the kids inside the images themselves, keeping it a relatively normal image. But the nostalgia found in Dreamcore is in the same way found in liminal space, often not showing people in the images, and the nostalgia coming from a place of surrealism instead of comfort. Other than nostalgia, another connection between Dreamcore and liminal space is its reliance on the environment, and it being eerie or off in some way. Whether that be the lack of people or just the unnatural vibes of the backgrounds themselves. Most of the times showing off edited images or things that just don't make complete sense, but still giving off the same 3 points from our last video, like quality, the location, or genuinely the time period itself, sometimes even showing old furniture or old cartoons and movies that we only watched as a kid. And while this obviously doesn't work in every situation, I think it can be said all Dreamcore is liminal, but not every liminal space can be classified as Dreamcore, as Dreamcore itself does have a lot of key components that helps keep it separated from the other genres, and such as liminal space and the back rooms and other things like that. Often mixing the outside elements of green grass and blue cloudy skies within man-made structures, maybe even putting a cloud inside of a room, or having a door open directly to this kind of environment. The flower aspect of Dreamcore being one of my favorites. Although with how broad Dreamcore can be, some of these images may not seem like they match each other very well, but in their own unique, dreamlike way, they do. And like I brought up earlier, there is a lack of people in Dreamcore, where the closest thing you might get is shadow people. These are probably just edited images where the shadow people would take the place of where a human would be in the actual photo. And when we get into describing dreamcore, I think it can become a little more confusing once we start seeing images with texts on them, mainly because when we get into that sort of area of imagery, we start to delve more into what is known as weirdcore, and the confusing conflict between both weirdcore and dreamcore. Obviously, a pretty big common factor between both of these is, once again, liminal space. Being a pretty big component of all internet cores and genres, we're not really going to escape it anytime soon. Speaking of, I just wanted to mention that I do plan on starting a What Is series on my channel where I dive into the rest of these subjects. I also want to let you guys know it's not just going to be liminal space, as I have another video already being worked on currently, one where we are going to be talking about Jack Stauber. I think that'll be a fun video, and if you guys want, go ahead and subscribe and stick around for that one. But back to my point of weirdcore and dreamcore. I wanted to bring up how both these subjects were being coined relatively around the same time, and they honestly have many similarities. But once again, referring to the aesthetics wiki, dreamcore is seen as the watered down or mainstream version of weirdcore. But it is pretty easy to distinguish them nowadays, with more and more people adding to the weirdcore stockpile of images. And even though it is slightly different from its origins now, the easiest way to identify weirdcore is through things like low-quality digital images and incorrect or nonsensical labels like stop signs or random yield signs being in the wrong spots. The really heavily overabundance use of eyeballs. Like dreamcore, you will see eyeballs play a big part into dreamcore imagery, but weirdcore has another level of where it just has such a focus on eyes and these other concepts such as like computer checkboxes, and of course, like I brought up earlier, text. Text is probably one of the clearest indicators for me that the image or video I am seeing is weirdcore. But on the contrary, I feel a very easy way to identify dreamcore is through the involvement of like biblically accurate angels and a weird otherworldly, almost heavenly vibe about the image or video. With how lots of dreamcore aspects focus on the sky and clouds and the weird involvement with ascension and stairs, I think it's pretty clear to say that dreamcore has this almost heavenly feel about it, where one is very clearly heavenly and depicting like biblically accurate angels and this otherworldly ascension, and the other one showing something almost very similar but giving it more of a creepy, eerie vibe, almost like in a limbo-ish state, and showing off like you might see flowers in weirdcore, but of course you are going to see the middle of that flower with an eyeball. Or just weird, unruly concepts that I would really like to dive into in a different time for a weirdcore video. But now that we've pretty much covered what dreamcore is, where can we find it? Believe it or not, there are a lot of movies that captured dreamcore pretty well before dreamcore is even a thing. Movies such as The Wizard of Oz, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Toys, Coraline, and even Alice in Wonderland. And trust me, I know there are plenty more than that. So if you can think of any dreamcore movies or any movies that might give off a similar vibe, please leave them down in the comment section for me and other viewers. We're now on to probably my final point in this video, and probably what is going to be the most difficult point for all of these videos: music. It is really hard to distinguish music between just one of these internet genres and cores, as one that works perfect for liminal space you might see used in a dreamcore compilation, vice versa, used around with weirdcore as well. You'll see the music thrown all over the place. I think it's honestly extremely difficult to try and pinpoint it down, as the same concepts that make something sound dreamy is probably the same concept in music that's going to make it sound liminal. Weirdcore probably being a little more easy to tell, but still definitely falling in line with a lot of the dreamcore music. But these songs in specific are more commonly agreed upon that they are all dreamcore vibes. Songs like Still Life,
What can only be found now?
7 Weeks and 3 Days, Hey kids. And I'd rather sleep. These songs all manage to capture that strange, dreamlike feeling. The only one of the internet genres and subcores that I think probably has the easiest motif in their music and sounds is definitely Fruitature Arrow. Now you know what makes up Dreamcore and all of the different aspects to the images and videos, as well as the odd origins and the weird conflicts between Dreamcore and other internet genres and internet cores, such as weirdcore, liminal space, and the backrooms. But just like liminal space, weirdcore, and all of those other genres, it's still relatively new. And of course, with the more images and videos that people create, the more Dreamcore will continue to evolve and change. I, for one, am of course excited for new content on Dreamcore, and anytime I see a new video or edit about Dreamcore in my Instagram feed or on my YouTube shorts, I love it. There's always something new. They continue to just create these awesome masterpieces and artworks. And I mean, that kind of is what it is in a small sense, is like admiring art. I think that's a bigger point though, and I think it's been made in a couple other videos talking about Dreamcore, so of course, obviously go check out those. But I will be starting my What Is series, and that will be going into tons of these internet cores, and of course I want to come back to these videos at some point when I get better at making these. I would love to revisit these topics and go back over them, especially with the new content of the future. We never know how long into the future it'll take me to come back and check out these videos. But of course, I'm going to be doing videos on Jack Stauber as well, and a bunch of other subjects in my new What Is series. So please, come check that out whenever you get a chance. I think we should have one final send-off to Dreamcore.
What can only be found now?
And with that, I just want to say one last final thank you to everybody that made it this far into the video. If you did make it this far, absolutely big thank you. It's insane to think that some people actually managed to watch all the way through some of these videos, as my audience retention doesn't tend to be very good on my videos normally, but that last one did really well, and kind of makes me think that some people might actually make it to this point in the video. So once again, thank you. Like I said before in the video, if you have any suggestions on movies or other things that might give off Dreamcore vibes, please leave them down in the comments below, and of course your own thoughts and opinions on Dreamcore as well. Other than that though, I hope you have a nice day, because you know I will. Bye bye.